I never planned for my birthday party to become the stage for a crime scene. But when your husband slaps you in front of 200 guests, and you laugh instead of crying, the whole world changes. What they didn't know was that my phone, hidden in my purse, had already sent every secret I collected about them, to the government, to the press, to everyone who mattered. That laugh wasn't madness. It was the sound of an empire collapsing. My name is Elowen Vale Harrington, 31 years old. People call me Elle. I work as a corporate attorney in Boston. From the outside, it looks perfect. The Harvard degree, the corner office, the expensive coats, the husband from one of the oldest families in New England. But what people don't see is how much of my life feels like walking barefoot across glass. Most mornings start the same. I leave our townhouse in Beacon Hill at 7, coffee in one hand, phone in the other. Jameson, my husband, usually leaves earlier or sometimes not at all, depending on whether his mother needs him. His mother, Victoria, doesn't knock. She arrives. She doesn't ask. She informs. I learned that fast. Wear ivory, she told me last night. It suits you. It sends the right message. I asked her what message. She smiled without answering. That's how she works. Half-truths, little commands. If you resist, she looks at you as if you're temporary. At the office, I bury myself in documents. Paper is easier than people. Numbers don't lie unless someone makes them, and I've been seeing numbers that don't add up. Millions moving through shell companies named like colors. Blue Ash, LLC, Ivory Sands Limited. No one pays a behavioral consultant $30,000 a month without a reason. His name is Thomas Whitley. He spends more time with my husband than I do. I once asked Jameson, "What exactly does Whitley do for you?" "He helps me focus," Jameson said, rubbing his temple. "Sometimes I lose track of things." I pressed, "Like what things?" He looked at me with eyes I didn't recognize. "Please don't push. Mother says it's working." Mother says. Always Mother says. That was when I realized he wasn't just distracted. He was being trained, conditioned. Every twitch, every silence after dinner, every sudden burst of anger. It wasn't random. It was programmed. At work, my assistant Laura knows better than to ask too many questions, but she sees me collecting hard drives, contracts, voice memos. She once asked, "What happens if they find out what you're doing?" I told her the truth. Then my life is over. She didn't laugh. She just nodded and said, "Then don't let them find out." Every night when Jameson falls asleep, I sit in the study. I wear headphones and listen to recordings I shouldn't have. Voices plotting in rooms with the curtains drawn. Victoria's voice is calm, almost warm as she talks about triggers. Jameson's voice is flat, as if reading from a script. Whitley's voice is clinical, listing the cost of compliance like groceries. And my name is always in their mouths. They think I'm an accessory, a wife for photographs, a name for invitations. They don't know that I have copies of everything, or that I wired my phone with a dead man's switch. One hit, one slap, one accident, and all of it goes out to the SEC, the FBI, and half a dozen journalists who owe me favors. It sounds paranoid, doesn't it? But paranoia is what keeps me alive in this house. The truth is, I still love the man I married. Or maybe I love the version of him before Victoria rebuilt him. When I touch his hand and he flinches like I'm fire, I remember the boy who once read me poems under a broken streetlight. That boy is gone most days, but sometimes I see him flicker, and it keeps me here longer than I should stay. But now, the party is coming. My birthday. Her stage. Their trap. Laura asked me yesterday, "Will you really go?" "Yes," I told her, "because the brightest lights show the darkest shadows." I don't know if she understood. I don't know if anyone will. But I know this. When the first glass breaks, when the first hand strikes, I will laugh. And the whole city will hear what that laugh really means. Most mornings I wake at 6:30. Black coffee, a slice of bread. I wash every glass before leaving the townhouse as if wiping fingerprints could somehow keep me safe. I get to the office before anyone else. The city is still wet from rain. I log in, check the secure channel I built. 3 test emails returned green. The line is alive. I shut the screen and sit still for half a minute, listening to the hum of the air system until my pulse steadies. Laura arrives with bagels. Hungry? She asks. Later. Pull up Blue Ash, consultant subfolder. She sighs. Still Whitley? Always. On the monitor, Whitley's contract, too clean. $30,000 a month for environmental stimulus reduction. Clauses about reflex monitoring. I mark them in red. Exploitation, behavior reset. Laura hands me the transfer logs. Every family meeting followed by identical payments. Same phrasing, same timing. Too perfect, too rehearsed. At 9:30, Jameson calls. Did you eat? He asks softly. Yes. You? Whitley says I reacted well last night. Reacted how? I don't want to argue. Please don't push. Mother says it's working. Mother says. Always Mother says. I press. Are you reading from him or from yourself? Silence, then a sigh. Don't make this harder. I end the call before anger makes me reckless. Back inside, Laura is editing audio I captured from the dining room. She hands me an earbud. Victoria's voice, calm as ice. When I raise my glass 3 times, you look at her and say, enough. If she laughs, stop. If she questions, step forward. Whitley's voice follows. The trigger is public shame. The reflex will be the right hand. Do not switch hands. And Jameson, flat like a child. Will it hurt her? Victoria, she has to learn. I pull the earbud out. My chest is tight but steady. Fear has trained itself into focus. Is this enough? Laura asks. Logically, yes. For outsiders, no. We need the chain, money to behavior to result. Otherwise, it looks like paranoia. She looks at me carefully. What if tonight goes bad? What do you want from me? Follow the checklist. Push send, call Zeke, then leave the city. Don't try to be a hero. And you? I stay. At lunch, we sit by the park. She tells me, you don't have to save the world. I don't, I answer. Just the truth that involves me. Back at the townhouse, I check the safe. Inside, trust documents, a USB, 12 printed photos from hidden cameras, Victoria's visits, Whitley walking in unannounced. I seal them in an envelope. Jameson comes home soaked in rain. He sees the ivory dress hanging. Ivory. Good. You mean on message? I say. He flinches like burned. Don't twist every word. I'm only asking. He reaches to touch my cheek, hesitant, almost tender. For a second, I see the boy who once tucked my hand into his coat on a bridge in the rain. Then his eyes empty. He withdraws. Don't cause trouble tonight, he whispers. Mother is tired. So am I answer. Later, I send Laura one word. Laugh. Not as a trigger, but as rehearsal. She replies with a thumbs up and an exclamation mark. At the office that evening, I schedule 3 data drops. FBI, SEC, 2 reporters. 15 minutes before the party. I can cancel if I'm safe. If not, the system runs. When I step out of the elevator, Zeke is waiting. Big night coming, he says. So I hear. Law moves slow, but truth breaks fast. Don't miss the moment. I won't. At home, I test the shoes, adjust the necklace that hides the memory card. My skin bears a faint red mark from the chain. The phone buzzes with a text from an unknown number. Don't be stupid. I power it off, slide it back into the purse. Before bed, I jot a single line in my notebook. If they ask why, tell them I couldn't stand one more lie. I fold it into my wallet with the photos. The night hangs outside the window like a thick curtain. I breathe in, once, steady. Then I whisper to myself, It's done, Elle. No turning back. And for the first time in years, I almost believe it. I've learned not to believe in luck, only in records. Dates, times, words spoken. That's how you survive when people around you deal in shadows. The first meeting I recorded was a Tuesday dinner at the Harrington townhouse. Staff gone, curtains drawn. I had already slipped a mic under the dining table and a recorder into the molding. Victoria entered first, Jameson trailing like a child. Whitley arrived last, carrying nothing, wearing that smug smile. "Phones in the silver tray," Victoria ordered. I had already placed mine there, screen dark. From the kitchen doorway I listened. Victoria, "We keep it gentle. A lesson, not a scandal." Whitley, "Public shame works faster than pain. Trigger is humiliation." Jameson, "Quiet. I don't want to hurt her." Victoria, "You won't. She will do that to herself." Their voices sank into the wood, into my recorder. I stood still, breathing slow. Later, I swapped the card for a blank one and left as if nothing happened. The second meeting was at the private club. I couldn't bug it, so I paid a bartender I trust to observe. He drew me a map afterward, who leaned in, who nodded at the word press. No words, but the shapes told enough. At the office, Laura and I pinned colored papers on the wall. Green for money, blue for calls, yellow for events. Red string tied them together until the web looked like a storm system. "The pattern is strong," Laura said. "Strong isn't enough," I answered. "We need why. We need proof of intent." We got it at the third meeting in the library. Whitley brought a case of equipment, heart rate straps, electrodes, a tablet with charts. "Reflex mapping," he explained. "Repetition, verbal cues, automatic response." Victoria, "In plain English." Whitley, "He'll do what we ask when the moment comes." Jameson, "I'm right here." Whitley, "And you're doing well." I poured tea with steady hands while my hidden mic captured everything. Afterward, Laura and I listened until the words became unbearable. Right hand, chin level, open palm. That night, Victoria nearly caught me. I was sliding the recorder back into the molding when her heels echoed down the hall. I grabbed a book, pretending to read. She stepped in, took it from my hands, flipped a page, and slid it back on the wrong shelf. Then she left. I didn't move it. If she had marked it, touching it again would have been fatal. I slept at the office, woke under a stack of notes. Laura shook her head. "You're getting reckless." "I have to," I said. "The party is days away." She helped me track the device Whitley used. A vendor datasheet matched his model, marketed as focus enhancement. Now it was hard evidence. That evening, Jameson tried to be kind. He brought soup, told me not to work late. His voice trembled as if rehearsed. I asked, "Are you reading this, or is it you?" He flinched. "Please, be kind." "I am," I said. "I'm telling you the truth." He had no reply. The last meeting before the party was brief. Guest lists, lighting, timed media. Jameson asked what it meant. "Something beautiful," Victoria said. After they left, I sat alone and wrote 3 lines in my notebook. 1. Their plan depends on humiliation. 2. Mine depends on timing. 3. Don't blink. I checked my phone, tested the dead man's switch, and sent Laura the final checklist. Her reply came back in one word. Ready. For the first time, I thought maybe I was. The night before the party, I sat on the floor of my office, laptop open, cables everywhere. Most lawyers spend their evenings drafting contracts. I was coding a system that could save my life. The dead man's switch wasn't fancy. Just a phone accelerometer tied to encrypted files. If the device was hit, hard slap, fall, or sudden jolt, and I didn't type in a code within 10 seconds, everything I had collected would fire off automatically to the SEC, the FBI, and 2 journalists who hated the Harringtons almost as much as I did. I tested it by knocking the purse against the desk. The phone buzzed 3 times, screen glowing red. My hands shook as I typed the cancel code. The screen turned green. Safe. Laura watched from the doorway. "This is insane," she said. "No," I told her. "This is insurance." She stepped inside, arms folded. What if it goes off at the wrong moment? A stumble? A bump? Then the world finds out sooner, I said. Not worse. She stared at me, then asked quietly, And if Jameson finds out? I paused. Then I'm already dead. Silence stretched between us. She finally sat, handed me a sandwich. Eat. Even martyrs need blood sugar. I ate. Not because I was hungry, but because I needed to feel human again. The next morning, Jameson left early for meetings. I checked the safe again. Documents, recordings, photographs. Each envelope labeled in neat block letters. I packed duplicates into my purse. On my desk sat a single card with instructions for Laura. If anything happens, call Zeke, deliver envelopes, then disappear for 72 hours. At noon, she came in. I read it, she said. Good, I replied. Don't get yourself killed trying to win. This isn't about winning, it's about surviving the trap. By evening, I was at the townhouse, dress draped across the bed. Ivory silk, Victoria's choice. I zipped it up myself. In the mirror, the color made me look like a ghost. Jameson knocked. He looked nervous, like he was carrying someone else's words. You'll shine tonight, he murmured. Is that you talking? I asked. Or her? He opened his mouth, then closed it. His silence was my answer. When he turned away, I whispered to my reflection, I'm not the one being programmed. The limo arrived at 7. Victoria sat inside, diamonds glittering. She glanced at me once. Perfect, she said. Exactly how I imagined. The ride was quiet. My purse rested on my lap, the switch humming inside. I touched it once, feeling the faint vibration, like a heartbeat. The venue glittered, marble floors, crystal chandeliers, walls lined with faces of Boston's elite. 200 guests, a stage built for humiliation. I smiled, shook hands, kissed cheeks. All the while, I checked exits, counted guards, measured the distance between me and Jameson. At the bar, Laura whispered, Everything in place? Yes. You sure you want to trigger it this way? I don't have to trigger it, I said. They will. She gripped my wrist. Don't blink. I won't. Later that night, back in the powder room, I checked the phone again, battery full, code ready, one jolt away from detonation. I wrote a single line on the inside of my palm with eyeliner. Laugh. Because that's how it had to end. Not with fear, not with tears. With a laugh that would burn their empire down. The birthday party wasn't for me. It was for them. A stage, a weapon, a public execution wrapped in champagne. The ballroom smelled of lilies and money. Strings played something classical, too sweet to cover the undercurrent of whispers. Victoria had orchestrated every detail, the ivory dress, the guest list, the speeches. I walked in, smiling, because that's what a Harrington wife was supposed to do. Inside, every muscle was steel. I spotted allies and enemies fast, partners from the firm, bankers, politicians, all people who would nod at Victoria's words and pretend they didn't see the cruelty in them. At the edge of the crowd, Laura raised her glass toward me. Small, subtle, our signal. She was in place. Jameson looked perfect in his suit. Perfect hair, perfect smile, perfect distance. He hugged me briefly. His hands were cold. You look beautiful, he said. Thank you. He paused, as if listening to an invisible prompter, then added, Mother will be pleased. Mother. Always mother. I drifted through conversations, champagne untouched. My purse never left my side. Inside it, the dead man's switch waited, silent but alive. Every time someone brushed past me, my body tensed, wondering if an accidental bump would end everything. Victoria took the stage first. She welcomed the crowd with warmth that could have fooled anyone who hadn't lived in her house. Tonight we honor Elowen, she said, voice smooth. A devoted wife, a charming hostess, a complicated addition to our family. Polite laughter rippled. I felt my jaw tighten. She went on, weaving compliments into barbs. Marriage is about loyalty, about choosing family over ambition. Sometimes, sadly, people forget that. Eyes turned toward me. Heat crawled up my neck, but I held my smile. Laura, across the room, gave the smallest nod. Recording. Always recording. Dinner was served. Candlelight flickered against crystal. I cut through the fillet but tasted nothing. Jameson sat to my left, Victoria to his. Whitley appeared behind me at one point, whispering something I couldn't hear. My skin prickled. Then came the moment. Victoria tapped her glass once, twice, 3 times. The room hushed. Jameson straightened, eyes glassy. "Elowen," Victoria said, her smile thin as glass. "Don't you have something to confess to this family?" Gasps. My fork froze in midair. This was it. The trap. She was baiting me to stumble, to deny, to look guilty. I leaned back, calm. "Confess? I don't think tonight is about me." Her smile sharpened. "Everything is about you, dear. Isn't it, Jameson?" Jameson's hand trembled against the tablecloth. His eyes flicked to hers, then to me. I saw the command lodge in his brain like a hook. His jaw clenched. He began to rise. The room shifted. Curiosity, hunger, anticipation. My phone buzzed once inside my purse. The switch was waiting. I breathed slow, steady. One more move and the night would fracture. Jameson stood, his shadow falling over me, his lips parted. The trigger had been pulled. I thought of the word written on my palm. Laugh. And I knew the empire was seconds away from burning. Time slowed. Jameson's hand rose, stiff, mechanical, like a soldier obeying a drill. His eyes weren't his. They were empty glass, reflecting only Victoria's command. I didn't move. I wanted them to see me still, to see me waiting. The strike landed, sharp, loud, echoing through the chandeliers. Gasps tore across the ballroom. Silverware clattered. Somewhere, a woman screamed. Pain stung across my cheek, hot and immediate, but I barely felt it, because at that very second, my purse jolted. The phone inside buzzed 3 times. The dead man's switch was alive. 10 seconds until the world changed. I looked up at Jameson. His hand trembled in the air as if he wasn't sure what he'd done. His mouth opened like he might apologize, but Victoria's eyes burned into him, erasing any chance of that. And I laughed. Not a nervous giggle, not hysteria. A full, loud, unbroken laugh that cut through the room like shattered glass. The crowd froze. My laugh was wrong, terrifying, triumphant. Victoria's smile faltered. She knew. Guests whispered, "Why is she laughing? Why isn't she crying? What does she know?" I reached for my glass of champagne, raised it as if in a toast, and said, clear enough for every microphone and every recording phone, "Did you think I didn't know?" Murmurs surged, heads turned, cameras lifted. Inside my purse, the phone clicked. Files began to move. Contracts, bank transfers, audio recordings. Thousands of pages, hours of tape. A storm unleashed across servers and inboxes. On the ballroom screen, meant for slideshows of smiling family photos, an image appeared. Whitley's contract, then a wire transfer, then a recording. Victoria's voice instructing him about triggers, about the right hand, about shame. The crowd gasped again. Someone shouted. Flashes erupted as reporters, hidden among the guests, started filming. Jameson staggered back, clutching his head. "What is this?" His voice cracked, raw, almost childlike. "It's the truth," I told him. "Everything you never wanted to see." Whitley pushed toward the stage, face pale. Victoria barked his name like a curse, but the microphones caught it, echoing across the speakers. Laura slipped to my side, her phone recording, her eyes steady. She whispered, "It's working." The ballroom erupted, guests rushing for exits, shouting, calling lawyers. Victoria tried to regain control, raising her arms, shouting about lies and fabrications. But the screen behind her betrayed her, showing emails with her signature, instructions in her voice. I turned to the room, my voice calm. "Happy birthday to me." And then I laughed again, louder, sharper, until it filled every corner of the hall. The empire had cracked, and everyone was watching it fall. The ballroom fractured. Some guests fled, others froze, phones raised. On the screen, contracts and wire logs gave way to Victoria's voice. When I raise my glass 3 times, every word echoed across chandeliers. Victoria lunged toward the AV table. Turn it off! The tech sat rigid, afraid to move. 2 men in suits slipped in at the doors, federal agents. Calm, quiet, already assessing. Laura brushed my arm. They're here. Whitley tried for the mic. Illegally obtained, but the feed cut to his signature on a contract. Gasps. His protest died in the noise. Jameson collapsed into a chair, hands tangled in his hair. Elle, what did you do? I stopped pretending, I said. He stared at his palms. Did I hit you? You did. And you let them train you too? He flinched, like waking from a dream. Victoria turned her fury on me. You don't get to win. We built this world. I only turned the lights on, I told her. Her smile froze. Agents moved in on Whitley. Thomas Whitley, we'll need your equipment. He stammered about counsel but handed over the case. Across the room, phones buzzed. Harrington Group under federal review. Screens lit up with news alerts and recordings already leaking online. Reporters pushed forward. Mrs. Harrington, are you alleging abuse? Are these documents authentic? I raised a hand. Tonight is about safety. The rest belongs to investigators. Victoria hissed. You think you have the moral high ground? No, I said quietly. Just oxygen. The agents asked her to step aside. Diamonds flashing, she followed with rigid dignity, but I saw the panic in her eyes. Zeke finally appeared, calm as stone. Ms. Harrington, do you need counsel? I have you, I said. You do, and the truth. Laura pressed a compress to my cheek. You're bleeding, she murmured. It will look honest on camera. Jameson's voice broke. I thought it was helping. Whitley said it would. Helping who? I asked. He had no answer. Come with me, I told him. Tell the truth. Start there. I don't know where I end and she begins. Then find the edges, I said. An agent approached. Miss Harrington, when you're ready. I looked at Jameson one last time. His shoulders shook. Not a sob, more like a glitch in the program. I didn't touch him. Some distances can't be crossed tonight. I turned to Laura. Checklist. All live? Backups safe? Good. Sirens threaded faintly outside. Steady, not urgent. The sound of a machine already in motion. I touched my cheek, still burning from the slap, but proof now, documented in front of 200 witnesses. Ready? The agent asked again. Ready, I said. And I meant it. The Harrington Empire wasn't just cracking, it was collapsing, one piece at a time, and I would stand in the open when it fell. The night ended in fragments. Guests scattered, reporters shouted, agents moved with quiet authority. I was escorted out through a side entrance, Laura at my shoulder, Zeke a steady wall on the other side. Cameras still caught us. Flashbulbs carved the night into white shards. At the curb, an agent spoke into his radio, then turned to me. Ms. Harrington, we'll need a statement. Tonight, if possible. Of course, I said. Inside the waiting car, I finally exhaled. My cheek throbbed, my purse hummed with the switch that had already done its job. Laura handed me a bottle of water. You laughed, she whispered. I had to, I said. They trained him to strike. They never trained me to break. The statement took hours. A conference room downtown, cameras rolling. They asked about the documents, the recordings, the money. I gave them everything. How I found the contracts. How Whitley's payments matched family meetings. How Victoria rehearsed her son's hand like a weapon. When it was done, one agent leaned back. You realize this is enough to unravel half their empire? I realize, I said, that's why I survived tonight. The next morning, the headlines blazed. Harrington dynasty under federal investigation. Clips of Victoria's commands played on every network. Whitley's name trended. My laugh did too. Endless loops online, strangers calling it defiance, madness, victory. Jameson didn't call. He checked into a clinic 2 days later. I sent no flowers. Healing was his work now, not mine. Victoria was indicted within the month. Fraud, conspiracy, coercion. She walked into court in pearls, chin high, but the cameras caught the crack in her eyes. Whitley took a plea. His career was finished. As for me, I resigned from the firm. Too many conflicts, too many whispers. Instead, I opened something new. The Awareness Legal Foundation. A place for people trapped by coercion, gaslighting, control. Cases no one wants because they don't fit neatly into law books. Laura came with me. So did Zeke in his way. "You're better outside the machine," he said. He was right. I sold the ivory dress. I kept the notebook with 3 lines. Their plan relied on humiliation. Mine on timing. Don't blink. Sometimes at night I still hear the slap, the sharp echo, the crowd's gasp. But louder than that, I hear my own laugh. Not joy, not cruelty, just the sound of surviving long enough to tell the truth. And if people ask why I did it, why I risked everything for that moment, my answer is simple. Because lies choke, and truth breathes.